Time is flying so quickly, it's already October. Can you imagine it? This month it's all about the bright autumn colors and pumpkins everywhere, and of course the spooky season, and I think actually it's the best autumn month. But before actually I'm gonna dive into all of this autumn mood and Halloween vibes, I decided that I wanted to check my fall bucket list, which I created in the beginning of the autumn, just to see what I've already done in September and what I still need to catch up, because it's really important for me not to only check the things in my bucket list, but actually try to remember them and pay attention to them, because this is how our memory works, and that's what I wanted to do today. But before I start to give myself more coziness, I wanted to prepare for me a cup of hot drink and also a cinnamon rolls.
I've been wanting to try making pumpkin-shaped cinnamon rolls for a while, because I think it's such a fun idea. So I bought this ready-to-bake cinnamon rolls from IKEA especially for that. Unfortunately, I didn't have any special kitchen-safe string at home, so I'm gonna use this one, the safest thing that I could find at home. It's a little bit fuzzy, but I hope it's not gonna ruin my rolls.
Now my coffee is here in my pumpkin cup, and my cinnamon rolls also here. They are ready, and actually they smell so delicious. And of course my fall bucket list, and actually what I wanted to do today is just like to check what I've already done, what not, because I don't really have time in September to actually check out all the things. I wanted to see what I need to do in October and what I actually can do maybe even today.
So the first thing in my list is actually to bake an apple pie, and I have no question about it, because it's kinda my little tradition to start every 1st of September by baking an apple pie. So I didn't miss it this year, and actually it was so delicious. I'm just in love with the smell of the baked apples and cinnamon in my home, and I can only highly recommend you to also bake an apple pie. The next thing on my list is decorate my home for autumn, and of course I have also already done it, because I'm always trying to get it done at the beginning of September rather than in October, so by this time I can fully enjoy the autumn colors and decorations. And honestly, I'm absolutely in love with how my decor has turned out to be this year, because it gives me so much inspiration, and I'm actually so happy to see this decor every day. Of course, I still have some things that I need to complete, like having a cozy movie marathon or walking in the park, but I'll definitely still have time to do them, and I'm already planning these activities for October. Another thing I've already completed is trying a new fall recipe, and for me that recipe was pumpkin soup with apples and feta cheese. And I think it actually was an amazing food. It was so delicious. I really love this combination and I'll definitely be making it again. So I can only recommend you to also try this recipe. You can find it in my video about perfect autumn day. The last thing I completed from this page is drink a cup of hot apple cider. Honestly, I didn't even plan to make it homemade, but it just happened because I decided to make it instead of simmering pot. But actually I'm so happy that I tried because it turned out to be so interesting and I really enjoyed this rich taste of apples and spices together. And of course I still have many activities left to do, such as bake a pumpkin pie, take a trip to some cozy nearby town or visit a fall amusement park. But you know, I'm kinda confused with one thing in my list.
So I have a big question about this point in my list to buy some American fall treat, because first of all it's so hard to find something in European stores from America. You cannot imagine, like in one store I was going to find an American section and there was like 2 pieces of something, because I remember it was one of ketchup and the second one it was marshmallows, I think, and that's all that they have from like the biggest store in Copenhagen in American section. So actually all that I was able to find in my nearest store is these Reese's candy bars. And my biggest question is, it counts as an American fall treat, or is it just like the general American sweets and they have no relation to autumn? Because maybe it's just the color that tricks me in this question and I'm not sure, so it's gonna be great help if you can actually write to me, is it like the real autumn treat in America or it's just like the general one? But right now I still wanna try one of these cups because I think it's quite interesting one. I've never seen anything like this before, because this is the cups. It's the sweet one, but it has potato chips in it. And it's like the craziest combination of food for me, the sweet one and the potato chips. But I don't know, for me it's so American actually that I decided that I wanted to try it. So let's see. I'm afraid a little bit of this taste. I've actually cannot taste any potato chips right now. Very different in here. So crunchy because of these potato chips. But actually because it's all so sweet, like the peanut butter, and I think there is a lot of sugar, it's so sweet that I cannot taste the potato chips in here. I can kinda feel a little bit of potato taste, but it doesn't bother me. So I think it was a good experience for me to try with butternut cups with peanut butter and with potato chips.
I'm also happily crossing out roast marshmallows and making s'mores from my list because I've already done it. I visited some bonfire event in Copenhagen and actually it was the first time in my life that I tried a real s'more. Because before that I usually only tried to roast marshmallows by itself and never tried to combine them with cookies and chocolate, and actually it was so delicious. I can also easily cross off buying a fall candle from my list because it was probably the easiest action. I just saw this beautiful pumpkin-shaped candle with a baked pumpkin scent in the store and I couldn't live without it. Making a fall soup thing actually a bit tricky because I already used it in the punkt of new fall recipe on my list, but what can I say, it really was new for me and it really was a soup, so I think I'm gonna cheat a little bit in here.
Actually, it's funny, but I'm almost forgot about that I have also reading list for the September books that I plan to read. And to be true, this reading list goes not as good as it planned in the beginning of autumn, because from this list I'm really was able only to read the first book, The Pumpkin Spice Cafe, and unfortunately I haven't got enough time to read other two books. I'm only in the middle of the second one, The Secret Society of Irregular Witches, and I'm not even started to read the third one. I'm a little bit sad about it, but it's life, you know, it's happened, and since I'm still also have a punkt in my fall bucket list about reading a book in the park, I decided that this is actually a great idea right now to take my book, take my coffee and go outside and read this book in a park.
So I'm really glad that I reflected on my September and checked everything that I did during this month, because it truly inspires me to keep up with my list and continue to do funny fall activities. And thanks to it I could create new wonderful memories and have new autumn experience that I might easily forget without it. And I still have so many new activities planned for October that I'm really excited about, and I hope you'll be looking forward to seeing them in my future videos. And thank you for joining me today.